Hi everyone and welcome back to the George Collection. I'm Rachel Rightside Blonde. May is a big month for media issues at George Magazine. I have a couple behind me that are media issues, and they both are May issues of the old George Magazine. And the new George Magazine that comes out, issue 8, is coming out on May 22nd. That's our June issue, but it comes out in May this year. And that is also on the rise of citizen journalists, which is kind of like media. So I thought I would go through this issue with Katie Couric on the cover, which is the hot media issue, and talk about what people thought of the media back in 1997. So here we go. Reading through this article and seeing the stats from 1997 and also knowing now in 2023 how they've played out, it's pretty eye-opening to see what the trends used to be back in 1997 because they've changed. What do I mean by this? Let's read and find out. You like us. You really like us. A shocking national media poll. From the OJ trial circus to ABC's recent legal problems over undercover reporting, there has been much hand-wringing in journalistic circles over the media's declining status. Rather than listen to yet another pundit on the subject, George decided to ask you what you think of us. We commissioned the research firm Global Strategy Group to conduct a scientific poll of 800 Americans about the media's place in their lives. The results are in, and they surprised us. The good news is that not only do more of you believe the press is a positive force in solving the nation's problems, but you also think it can bring about more change than the government. The bad news, the media establishment will be sad to learn that most of you depend on local, not national news to stay informed. For more headlines on your views, read on. For this next part, I'll spare you all me reading each and every name and every stat, and I'll just post the pictures and you can pause if you need to. A couple stats I found interesting were the whom do you respect more, politicians or journalists question, with 69% at journalists. I think that number would be a lot lower. And one of the options was neither. I feel like that number would be higher, that they would trust neither politicians or journalists. Interestingly enough, back in 1997, people did recognize the impact the media had in the question of which is most powerful at affecting change, the media or government, and 67% of people said the media and only 23% said government. The last question was, is the media a positive or a negative force in helping to solve the country's problems? And 44% of people in 1997 said, yes, it's a positive force in solving problems, and only 31% said it was a negative force. I think those numbers would at least be inverted, but that's just my opinion. What stats did you find interesting? I would love to know your opinion of how they differ or how they compare to 2023 from 1997. Put them in the comments if you want. That does it for this episode of the George Collection. Thank you so much for watching. Have a great week, and I'll see you next time.
Magazine, George, which is a hoot of a magazine. I thought you were a lawyer.
I was.
What happened?
Well, we decided, actually taking a cue from folks like yourself and you around the 1992 election, that there was an opportunity here to change the definition of a political magazine. Certainly the way Americans were accessing information about politics and politicians was changing. Candidates were appearing on late night talk shows, on talk radio, on sitcoms, and there was a kind of a leveling process, and while the rest of media clearly had caught up with that, we felt that political magazines per se hadn't.
Your mother was a hell of an editor at Doubleday.
That's what I hear.
Would she have liked George?
I think she would have.